Hello and welcome to another video here on History Gaming Verified. And today I'm gonna show you how to build up Germany correctly in Ultra Historical mod for Hearts of Iron 4, a mod that I'm helping to develop. Actually developing is not the right term there, I think, since we have gotten pretty far. We have released it fully. So yeah, maybe check it out over on the Steam Workshop. I'm gonna put the link somewhere over here. In any case, yeah, some people struggle with our mod, mainly because of huge industry numbers that might look a bit intimidating at times, but specifically how to build up your nation, since that is very different in Ultra than it is to the regular vanilla game and a lot of the mods out there. So, most important thing for you to know in that department is your economy system has a huge influence on how to build up early in the game. As you can see, Germany starts on mixed economy, which is pretty okay for anything what you are planning to do. As you can see, bonuses across the board on basically anything, but not very high. They also are on partial mob, which gives them an additional plus 5% on military construction, but not so much on civilian industry. So there is already a little hint there what you should do probably. I've already set the production up because that usually takes a bit. We actually have a macro builder to make that easier for you, since you can build much more. I tend to make it this way. Basically, Hamburg gets dockyards, so does the lower Elbe area. This is just, you will cancel that out before it's actually constructing 30 or 80. We'll never get that far actually, so it doesn't really matter how much there is. You can set that up pretty quickly with our macro builder. Basically, you set up which infrastructure levels are supposed to get buildings and which buildings, and then you just order it to build 5, 10, 20, or single buildings, as you like. So, obviously, Hamburg gets some dockyards. It also gets quite a few military factories, which are more important for you in the long run, but the dockyards are important as Germany, so I tend to do that. Then Berlin, since it's the single other province that has an infrastructure level of 9 in Germany, and then you just go down infrastructure to 70% as I did here, and with that, yeah, as you can see, 70% is Westphalia, 80% is East Rhineland. And then you slowly go down to the lower levels, but first you build additional dockyards. Not too much. At least you don't have to, obviously, when you don't want to go Navy heavy, but I tend to like Navy heavy. I want my Bismarck. Yeah, and then you go just military industry everywhere, basically. I also built some dockyards here and there, but only a single one in Hinterpommern, since, yeah, 40% infra is just shit. Eastern Prussia also only 2. And besides that, military industry. And as you can see, when these finish, these dockyards, you can actually build military industry everywhere, in every single province. So that is really nice. So that looks like a lot, but it's not that much in terms of production. But it's important. I'm going to show you why that is important. So obviously we start with the usual stuff, Rhineland, since it gives us a lot of political power, which is important early on. Germany starts with quite a few advisors already in their positions, but more is always better, and you as Germany want every bonus you can get. So Rhineland early on helps massively. Also it gives tiny little bit of army experience and a bit of world tension, but nothing too bad. So, anyway, I usually go for these here slowly, so that I get army innovations and form the Panzertruppe. I will show you that soon enough. But the important part is, after the 4-year plan, which gives you Goering, who is not really important early on, it gives you autarky. And look at that. This has some drawbacks, obviously, but you get a lot of resource gain from this, and construction speed for various buildings, but yeah, in total it makes building civilian industry completely useless for you, since you need to bring up that industry, that military industry, ASAP. Only when that starts roaring and getting into production fast you have a chance, since in Ultra, building civilian industry as Germany just takes too long to have any impact on you. And you can't convert, that's another important part. The capitalist countries, they can build civilian industry, save for France maybe, since they need the production early on. But more importantly, they don't have the Mittelstand. Mittelstand is a representation of Germany's industry being, to a large part, and until this day, until today even, rather small. No huge corporations and companies usually, but a lot of it is rather smallish. So they struggle with converting from a civilian factory to a military factory for a long time in the war. And as you can see in the focus tree, it takes you until you are at war with the USSR and the USA to go to total war and remove that spirit so that you can start converting. And conversion of civilian industry is where your actually military industry comes from later. So yeah, that's a long way to get there. And until then, you just have to build military industry, since the civilian industry will just not pay itself back in time due to the long building times in Ultra. In any case, that's that reason. How you actually set up research is obviously just your decision. As you can see, you are already locked out of concentrated industry as Germany, since that just wasn't a thing they were doing. In my case, I tend to usually go for an early recon plane, and then better armored cars. And then we already, or at least I do, usually look over to the Navy screen. And I like to get these rather heavy caliber dual purpose guns and the better 38cm naval cannons, so I can get the Bismarck out with a somewhat solid secondary battery there. Yeah, that's basically my early setup for game. Now let's take a look at production. For production, you have quite a few factories at the moment, though remember those are not nearly as productive in Ultra as they usually are in vanilla games or in other mods. A single factory here, in fact, there, 1.10 per day military factory production gives a single factory. So that's not incredibly good. As Germany, if you want to play historically, obviously using medium bombers is the way to go, and light bombers too. So if you want to play efficiently, that's something entirely different. In that case, you have to decide which air trio you want to go for. I tend to have some CAS, not a lot, but some, in form of the Stukas then later on. And I really like the light bombers, but they have bad range. So if you're min-maxing, then probably dropping the light bomber line, since, as you can see, even that thing here, you can't produce it yet, and it has significantly shorter range. But yeah, it's cheaper by a bit. Overall, the Heinkel is seriously better. This does change over time, especially with the upgraded version. You already get some performance boosts, but it's not quite enough, but at least it's defensively better. But the costs also increase a bit. So at that point you already have efficiency with the Heinkel. You can do that. The thing is, the light bombers never get really that much better than these, but they are far more survivable. So it's a trade-off. They don't do much damage, but they survive better. Basically, you have to decide. I like to take both when I play historical. When I have to play efficiency, yeah, in multiplayer, for example, then I usually decide for one of both. Not both lines at the same time. The late medium bombers have very good anti-naval capacities, so that is probably an option for you. In any case, this early, that doesn't really matter for us, and I think I'm gonna go for an efficiency build this time around. So, we build this, we build this. That's some nice early production on that thing. Maritime patrols I like as Germany. I don't build a lot of them, and we already have the next version researched, so putting that into production is a no-brainer. They're useful against the occasional British submarine, later on for also the American submarines, and they help out the Italians a lot here in the Mediterranean. Transport planes are something I love since I love paratroopers, so I built quite a few of them, though you start already with some. Those are being important, obviously, but not that much early on, so not too much production needed. I like light tanks. You can convert them later on. Trucks. You can't overstate how important those are as Germany. You need them for your tanks, you need them for your motorized infantry, obviously, and also for supply hubs. You seriously need them in Russia, really, believe me. Building railways is not an option here. So, artillery. Heavy artillery, that is a choice. You can do that. If I'm really fully min-maxing that, then I tend to remove the heavy artillery for the most part. We're changing a bit about the how artillery works at the moment, so this is a bit in flux. I'm playing not on the dev version here, but on the current release version. So that's up to you how you want to run that. I like to have some heavy anti-air as Germany, since your doctrine boosts that. So I keep going with that. Same with the regular light anti-air that I also like to have in my divisions. I increase my rifle production quite a bit early on. I tend to double that at least with this setup, and also more support equipment. And I usually stick even more on support equipment in the long run. So that's basically how I set that up. Navy production. As you know, naval strategy is build strategy. Depending on what you intend to do with your build, like a Panzerschiff raiding fleet, or in my case, a smallish capital ship based combat fleet, then I tend to nonetheless finish this thing. Also, I finished the Hipper since it has already progressed some bit, and the Hipper isn't bad. I also finished the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau for obvious reason. However, I tend to just outright cancel every single destroyer we are building at the moment, since these things are, in my opinion, utterly useless. For the submarines, things are a bit different. The Type 1A class is okay. You can make use of those. Type 2B class is a bit different. I tend to finish, nonetheless, all of these that are running like that, so, but only one. These are I usually finish with one. Yeah, two of them are built, and then the rest in singles, since they already progressed that far. And then I finish all the others here, unless they don't have any production done on them. Then I cancel them, since you don't need them really, and there are better models available later on when you design them a bit better. So that is that production setup. Well, army, early on, you need infantry, you need boots on the ground. ASAP, tanks is something when you have actually developed them, then you can deploy them. So I tend to go for full-blown infantry divisions at the start, never-ending production line, and I keep producing them until like 1938, mid-1938, and then I recruit panzer divisions. Yeah, you probably have to redesign some of those divisions later on, especially the panzer divisions early on are pretty useless with their heavy tank numbers, low organization. You need more than that. You can see this here, 2 motorized per 1 tank battalion, or 3 mechanized per 2 tank battalions, so mechanized are more efficient. There's still some debate ongoing on that, but I'm gonna go into the philosophy of division designing on another video. In any case, that's the early setup now for Germany, and now it's basically up to you how to continue. As I said, I tend to go for Rhineland, and then probably actually like to take that the Anti-Comintern Pact to get the war support and the political power. Army innovations form the Panzertruppe. Yeah, no decisions here for Russia to screw you over with. You just get that. Then I go for naval realm and naval effort, air innovations sometimes, sometimes not, depends on what I'm planning to do. And then for your plan autarky, and then it's Reichsautobahn and the Werke here, Hermann Göring Werke KDF-Wagen. Remember, these focuses that construct factories don't actually give them that to you, but instead you will get them here under the major construction projects, and you have to actually launch them. And they will eat political power and civilian industry while they're being constructed, though it's more efficient to do it this way than to build them by yourself. In any case, that's more or less it. For deeper strategies on Germany, if you want to see them, leave a like, leave a comment where you ask for it. I will do that too, if you want me to. And occasionally check out my streams over on Twitch where you might actually see me playing this mod. In any case, I hope you enjoyed it this far. This is only a very early setup game, so you know what you have to do. I hope you liked it. And in any case, I hope I see you soon. Goodbye.